The US Army is working on a really unusual prototype rifle here. It fires the very high-powered 6.8 by 51mm cartridge from the shortest barrel configuration that I think I've ever seen for a weapon of this kind. Normally, this kind of large caliber weapon is reserved for barrels longer than at least 13 inches, and the reason they do that is so that it can have enough muzzle velocity to hit targets at 800 meters and beyond. If you tried making a high-powered gun with a short barrel in the past, it was impossible to reach that necessary muzzle velocity from an impossibly short 8-inch barrel. So what's different here? Why does the NGSW Raptor work where others have failed? Hello fellow Spare Parts Army, I'm your average infantryman Chris Cappy, and in this video we're going to examine 3 distinct but equally important aspects of this compact rifle. First of all, how would this 6.8 Raptor be deployed within the US Army? How does it handle, and what new features does it have? Stick around to the end of the video for an important update on the NGSW program. This weapon is part of the competition to replace the US Army's primary M4 rifle, and it's for official US military use only. So when I picked up the Raptor, it felt perfectly balanced and easy to manipulate. The Raptor is a full 5 inches shorter than the standard version of the NGSW that I fired in the past. It's far more compact than even your old M4. Look here, by using my super scientific measurement method, I estimate it to be around 19 inches in overall length, a full 10 inches shorter than the M4. The official weight is still top secret for sure, but I happen to be an expert in lifting 5-pound weights, so I would guesstimate that the Raptor comes in between 6 and 7 pounds. So drivers and vehicle crews would be issued the Raptor because they're the ones that have to fit into the small, cramped crew compartments in vehicles. Any soldiers who are likely to engage in combat but are not necessarily infantry would find this rifle really useful, I think. This would include roles like medics, engineers, and forward observers who often have to have their hands free when they're performing the main duties of their jobs. The Raptor could also be a valuable tool for the frontline infantry as well, because it could give them an urban warfare advantage with the short barrel. This NGSW platform, for the first time ever, would give regular troops the ability to choose which barrel length is right depending on the mission. The Raptor is an unofficial name for this version, because it's vicious and dangerous up close, just like its namesake. I do hope that SIG doesn't decide to change the name because I already got it tattooed. Wait, what do you mean they didn't sponsor this video? Then why did I get this? In the future, the US Army could equip soldiers with multiple barrel lengths so that they could pick and choose based on each operation's requirements. This is actually a trend that I've been noticing across all of the modern weapons and vehicle development programs in the military. There's a clear emphasis on the future soldier being able to adapt on the fly based on the needs of the specific mission. The Raptor is a perfect example of this evolving military doctrine. Firing the gun felt great because of its compact size. This meant that my center of gravity was in closer to my body, so I was able to control it easier. The trigger pull felt very similar to the trigger on the M4 in a good way. It's very responsive and it doesn't require too much pressure to engage. All of its controls were intuitive to work because they're in the same exact place as the Legacy platform. There's even a forward assist on there, which gives you that added value of any AR guy's gonna have that nice nostalgia hit from it. The experts at SIG explain the quality of life improvements best.
I'd say one of the first major differences as you come to it, you're gonna see your side charging handle. It's non-reciprocating, so when you fire, it doesn't move, it stays captured. If you look at it, it's got a pin that actually holds it in position, so it can't actually be moved out of battery while you're carrying it. It collapses, and it's streamlined to ensure that you don't get any snags on it. You know, we have a folding buttstock, which is obviously different than what soldiers currently have. The great thing about that is, you know, climbing in and out of vehicles, there's a lot of opportunities to, for a weapon system to kind of get in your way. This actually
The polymer magazine holds 20 rounds and functioned great. I had no misfires or jams during the over hour of test firing. The rifle is both a Picatinny rail system and the key mod mounting holes, which are 2 different systems for mounting optics. Some people love the old-fashioned Picatinny rails, others swear by the key mod holes. It's like the competition between VHS and Betamax, except in this case, the winner will probably end up being decided by the Special Forces cool guys. Some people have pointed out to me on my Instagram that other experiments with short barrel rifles that fire calibers similar to the 6.8 haven't worked out in the past, and that might be true, But that's because those rifles couldn't reach a high enough muzzle velocity. They were unable to take advantage of the full powered round, which isn't the case here. SIG is still able to achieve a high muzzle velocity with a short 8-inch barrel thanks to the proprietary steel brass ammo. That allows them to run higher chamber pressures. So basically this new advancement in ammo can now give soldiers an advancement in firearms as well. Listen to SIG expert Jason St. John explain the new materials that were used to construct this rifle.
You know, having an aluminum receiver and looking at very long-term life cycle aspects of the weapon system, we wanted to make sure that areas that were maybe potentially compromised in 35, 45, 50,000 round configurations, that we put what we would have called really sacrificial nodes or steel inserts in order to make sure that that wear area is much more durable. You know, when you look at the internal feed ramps, they're margarine steel that's an insert right there that's also replaceable. It's a harder steel so when we look into advanced projectiles that are maybe steel tipped that dig in, then we're going to make sure we don't damage the weapon system while we're firing there. The bolt itself is made out of margarine steel, which is a very hard steel.
So what they're saying is that tougher margarine steel that the bolt's made out of allows it to handle those higher chamber pressures so that the bullet can have a higher muzzle velocity. The thing I really like about the Raptor is you no longer have to go to an expert or go beg your armorer to take a time out of their day to put the barrel on that you want. No, to make modifications and changes are really easy now. You just take off the handguard rail and screw in the barrel that you want. The Army is even eyeing a longer 18 and 20-inch version for snipers. The US Army is planning to make their final decision on the winner of the Next Generation Squad Weapon Program by the end of January 2022. That's next month. But this is the same Army that told people that they were deploying for 12 months and then extended it to 18 months, so I'm not going to hold my breath and say that they're going to hit that date. I've waited until now to release this other information because it seems credible at this point. I heard about a month ago that Textron had dropped out of the NGSW competition. Rumors continue to circulate that the Army is no longer considering Textron's rifle. From what I'm hearing from my source who's very closely involved with the NGSW program, they say that Textron weapons and ammo failed to reach the requirements from the Army. The Firearms blog reached out to Textron and got the following response from them. They said, quote, "Textron Systems has completed its scope of work and the prototype phase and have delivered all weapons for government testing. We are closely tracking the Army's next steps." Now, I'm not insinuating that Textron lost the bid because they were the only company to deny me a chance to shoot their rifle,
but I can't see any other logical explanation.
True Velocity put out a mysterious press release that seemed to confirm this by announcing that only SIG and them were left in the running. So the Raptor tells us that the US Army is planning to head towards a soldier who can swap out optics and barrels on the fly for each mission. It shows us that new types of ammunition can lead to advancements in firearms, where smaller weapons are now possible. And finally, the Raptor is also in line with the Army's long-running plan to weaponize genetically engineered dinosaurs for warfare.